Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera kepada semua para pendengar Radio Melayu Per, penonton Facebook. YouTube live, bukan Facebook ya. Kita di YouTube pada siaran malam ini ya. Saya DJ Wan berada di studio Radio Melayu bersama DJ Force. Assalamualaikum semua.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good evening to our super special guest. This is DJ Force. Saya DJ Force ya, kembali ke udara dan juga kita sekarang menggunakan YouTube ya. So YouTube live basically. Kalau nak dijadikan cerita pada 22nd of June ya, 22nd of June 2019 ya, 22 Jun 2019 sebenarnya merupakan ada satu siaran pada malam tersebut, Facebook Live bersama Chris Parry juga. Jadi 1 tahun ya, 1 tahun sudah berlalu dan tetamu kita pada malam ini Chris Parry ya. So how's it going?
Going well. How are you?
Good. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Thank you. And jangan lupa juga jika anda lihat sekarang di skrin anda, ada in the background our super special bodyguard, which is this super presenting Tom. Say hi, Tom. Hello. So, there you go. Real life Aussie boy. Okay, right. On Radio Melayu Perth, Okay, siapa yang jangan nak tengok, tak pernah tengok, you've never seen an Aussie boy before live in the studio. There's one there. Yeah, and then over here, of course, we have
real Aussie man.
The real Aussie man, the real Aussie man.
Real Aussie man.
True.
Yang sukakan nasi lemak.
Looking older than last year.
Nampak tua sikit. Older a bit, but that's okay. More matured, more wisdom.
Mature.
That's the main thing. Yeah. So kita pun sudah lama tak berkemandang ya.
Lama tak berkumandang, dan lama juga tak live. Rasa sejak raya hari tu kita belum live lagi lah. Sejak raya kan.
Sejak raya,
masa last show pun kita buat tahajud, siaran mengenai solat tahajud. Kemudian kita ada takbir raya. Takbir raya ya. Ni adalah siaran pertama lah lepas raya, dah semua raya dah habis. Dah tak main lagu raya dah. Open house pun rasa ni dah last week kot.
Last week. Jadi sempat lagi lah kepada mereka yang tak belum lagi menerima ucapan daripada tim Radio Melayu Per. Kita mengucapkan selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri, maaf zahir dan batin. Ataupun di sini ramai kita menggunakan Eid Mubarak kepada umat muslimin dan muslimat yang menyambut Hari Raya. So it's still in the month of celebration for the Muslims all over the world. Now is the month of Shawwal. So Shawwal is the month that 30 days roughly that we still celebrate it's nearly to the end for the Eid, which finished last month, of course. The fasting month, Ramadan. Right.
Alright. For today, we already introduced our guest tonight. Chris Parry. Chris Parry merupakan seorang penulis kembara lah kepada anda yang belum mengenali diri beliau. Dia berasal daripada Western Australia, WA boy. Alright. Dan banyak menulis atau menukilkan artikel-artikel mengenai pengembaraan lah, travel dalam travel magazines, in-flight magazines, tourism organisation, dan beliau banyak dijemput, banyak mendapat jemputan oleh organisasi tourism, pelancongan untuk mengadakan untuk merasai pengalaman pelancongan di tempat-tempat tarikan. Yang contohnya Tourism Malaysia ada memberi jemputan kepada beliau, dan beliau akan pergi dan akan menulis mengenai pengalaman beliau tersebut. Jadi oleh kerana pengalaman travel yang begitu banyak yang Chris telah lalui jadi dalam sesi hari ini kita bolehlah mendengar perkongsian dari diri beliau. So Chris, so from our last interview with you, right? You basically shared about attractions in, I think, Busselton, was it, Dunsborough, right? And it has been a year since last you shared with us. So I look at the photos and there are I think like 4 or 5 locations that you have been, both in Malaysia and also Australia. And we start with this photo. Okay, saya akan menunjukkan satu gambar kepada para penonton ya. Okay, Chris. Alright. Before that, how are you? We have not seen, everything. Yeah,
I'm really
okay?
well. I'm surviving pretty well. Got a family to look after me, and me to look after a family.
Good.
I think we're coming through everything that everyone else is going through as well.
Yes.
So I think we're in a great country, in a great state, and we're in great shape at the
We're very
moment.
lucky.
So
Yes,
hopefully that
Western
continues.
Australia. Yes,
We're doing well. I'm doing well.
That's really good. That's really good. Yes. Thank God for that. And that's why you are here. We are all feeling well, and we still keep the social distancing in place.
So kita okay lah, boleh lah. Okay, boleh.
Alright.
1.5. Okay, alright.
1.5 meter. Okay, Chris. So this first destination, all right. This looks like Perth. There's a bell tower there in the window, and what is this? Please share with us. Go through with us, please.
Well, it's the Ritz-Carlton and
Right.
Elizabeth Quay in Perth. So it's really the newest, schmickest, fanciest hotel that Perth's got to offer.
Yep.
And pretty much with the best views in Perth as well. So it's a typical of a Ritz-Carlton property, where you
Right smack.
it's and it's as luxurious as it gets.
Okay.
It stands to attention and looks after every need that you've got.
Every need.
Yep.
Yeah, and that view there, that's overlooking the bell tower, and then behind the bell tower is the beautiful Swan River, and we've got a nice blue day there as well. So I had a really fortunate opportunity to be there, and a lot of the rooms have that wraparound effect of the windows as well, sort of floor to ceiling, curved as well. So really making use of the view, and for that location, Perth's been wanting this for a long time. So there we go. That's a really interesting photo that I've taken. I must say it's a pretty good photo.
Yes,
So you can see that the bottom of the window there, that's Elizabeth Quay, the water that's down there. So you can get ferries from there. The little electric ferry company who run their little boats out of there and take you for cruises up the Swan River. Yep. That's probably 10 seconds walk from the front door of the hotel. And then in the background, a big sort of white building sort of halfway up the window there, that's the Perth Exhibition Centre. Yep. So if there's big shows on in Perth, big events, big conferences, that's typically where they might be held. Yep. And then behind that and off to the left, that's our wonderful Kings Park. So one of the largest areas of natural bush in a capital city anywhere in the world. So an amazing place to go for walks and experience. So
over 900 acres, I believe.
You know it well. So one of the biggest, isn't it?
One of the biggest in the world.
You can get lost in there. In fact, if you go for a walk on some of the smaller trails, you won't hear anything in the city. You could be anywhere in Western Australia, just in the bush. You're not hearing the traffic or anything at all. It's a truly magnificent park. So, and great to have a hotel that's just right there, and to have all of those wonderful things to experience just so close by. So it's been a long time coming, and great to have it here. And I guess in a COVID-19 world, if you're in Western Australia and you're coming to Perth, there's an opportunity to stay somewhere. But also, if you're in Perth, there's an opportunity to say, don't feel like staying at home tonight. Let's have a weekender that's the city.
In the city,
just do something a little bit different, break out.
Yeah, and
make
put
your
some money around and then go to Ritz-Carlton for one night.
Be a tourist in your own city.
Yes, be a tourist in your own city. Itu penting tu ya. Jadi kita cuba untuk menjadi kita, I mean, we give back to our own community. Jadi yang caranya adalah you become a tourist in your own city.
Yeah.
So kan, tak payah pergi jauh-jauh, just travel close and then spend the money there.
At the moment, that's what we have to do.
That's what we have to do anyway.
We can't do the international travel
anyway. Okay.
But we still want to do stuff.
Yes, of course.
So we want we don't just want to stay home and binge on Netflix every weekend.
Yeah, correct, of course.
So maybe you can do that every second weekend.
Yep.
And then for the other weekend, find something else to do.
Yeah.
And there's always something interesting about if you have someone come to the community you live in and you have to show them around. And all of a sudden you realise with new eyes and fresh eyes just how good the place you live can be. You take them down to, in this case, Cottesloe Beach or Matilda Bay or the zoo or Whiteman Park or Kings Park, wherever it is. And you might not have been there yourself for months or even years sometimes, but you have a visitor come and stay with you and all of a sudden you have to show off the place where you live. It's like, gee, this is great. We should get out more often. Yeah. And you've got an opportunity to do that now because of the situation we all live in. Get out and explore your city. Stay somewhere as well and just have an adventure.
Yes, correct. Yeah, getting to know your own place. Yeah, all this while.
Own backyard.
Own backyard, yeah.
It is, it is about exploring your own backyard.
Yes.
So,
Agreed.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, we're excited about this Ritz-Carlton. It is definitely open for public to stay. And the next door to it is like a DoubleTree, is it?
No, they've got apartments that you can buy.
Okay, there's apartment there.
Which sort of looks like the same. It's got the same look about it as the hotel itself.
Yeah,
so, but that's more for if you just want to buy a private apartment.
Yes,
then you can do. So, but let's not talk about prices for that.
Oh yes,
right.
So, yeah.
Okay. Walk us through on the next photo. Okay, looks like you are sitting on a virtual table somewhere.
What do you reckon it is?
That is. Looks like a table. Yes, it is a table.
It is all as it appears. There's nothing fake there. There's no CGI or doctoring of Photoshop or anything at all. It is a cafe in Kuala Lumpur.
Yes.
The 2D cafe, which is it's only a couple of minutes walk from Sunway.
Okay.
Sort of in a shopping centre sort of near Sunway.
Yep.
And it's just extraordinary. It's done up as to represent the world in a 2D way. And just gives the impression of a very sort of simplistic environment in black and white.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Even
from that particular point.
And I guess as well, it's one of those. It's an example of, I guess, where we've gone with tourism, where we like to go to things that are a little bit more quirky as well, and Instagrammable sort of thing. So,
for sure.
and most of the people that go there are there to take the pictures and go, look, this is really cool. It's really funky.
Yeah.
And I think there's another. I think there's two of them in KL, but this one's near Sunway, and sort of.
Yeah.
So
Another photo.
KL,
Yeah. So this is basically. What is that? You're really actually sitting on a chair with a table.
Sitting on chairs and tables, and there's like a bath there that's filled with like ping pong balls that you can lie in.
Yeah.
And obviously you can buy drinks as well. They just make sort of a range of smoothies and things. It's pretty simple. So there you go. There's a nice view from when you walk in.
Yeah.
Almost like a classroom feel there.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't look real, does it? It just looks like a drawing. And then when you put someone into the picture sitting there, it's a good example of, I think, where we're going to be going, and we'll explore this. I know in this conversation is around looking for things that are a little bit different and possibly a little bit congested. So going to the same places, but discovering new things that are maybe a little bit quieter and out of the way, a little bit quirky.
Yeah.
Something that everyone can enjoy that you're travelling with, either as a family or with your partner. Have a bit of fun, get out there, find these things that are in environments that are quieter and are quirky.
So this is a cafe, so they serve actual drinks or food.
They do sell actual drinks as opposed to 2D drinks.
That's right.
You will get they got a really good range of fruit smoothies and coffees and things as well. So, but I don't think the idea is that you spend a long time there.
Yeah.
You're not there to get a meal or anything at all. It's
just for the sake of photos.
Get a drink, take a few funny photos and move on.
Yeah, okay. Ni 3D cafe ya, penonton semua di Sunway ya, tidak jauh dari Sunway. Jadi kepada mereka di Malaysia bolehlah ya, nak pergi check out tempat ni. Saya pun tak tahu ada tempat ni sampai Chris memperkenalkan kepada kami berdua di sini.
A non-Malaysian telling Malaysian about, hey, you've got this thing here. It's like, what? Oh, about that. Yeah, okay, alright.
Okay, move on to the next photo.
Look at
Okay,
that. That looks
What is
familiar.
that? Yes.
Tom, who's that? Yeah.
Okay, alright. That was the bodyguard, yes.
Excuse me. That's a really interesting photo now when we think of how far we've come in the last few months with the wonderful coronavirus. So this photo was taken at the very beginning of March. I was with my family in Kuala Lumpur, and we had we stayed in a couple of places there, and this is at Sunway. Great opportunity to experience Sunway. And little did we know that within a week the world would be so different.
Yes,
So we're at Sunway to experience the Sharknado experience, which is a pretty scary sort of thing to experience at Sunway. And so Tom was sort of getting himself ready for the adventures ahead by having a bit of a swim. It's a wonderful place. I actually hadn't been to Sunway before, and it was something I was keen to get to. I'd heard about it through doing a lot of media fam trips for Tourism Malaysia, and a lot of other journalists and writers and bloggers had talked about Sunway and the local guides we had, and it had never been high on the radar.
Okay.
And then the opportunity to go there and realise that within basically central KL, you've got a really cool theme park that has also got a range of hotels to suit anyone.
Yep.
Good family accommodation through to the high-end accommodation,
Yep.
and a pretty cool shopping centre attached right next to it
Next
as
to
well.
it, yeah.
Extraordinary. So we had a great couple of days there, going on the rides and riding racing cars. Oh, there we go. He's caught himself a great white shark.
Yeah.
So look,
Sharknado.
we even got the fin, which is it's a very special hat.
Okay.
Very special hat, isn't it? Yeah, and I'm not putting it
Acts
on.
like a beanie.
You know, it's one of the things I'm missing most about travel is I walk around my house and seeing the things that you collect along the way. And not just the nice paintings on the wall and those sort of things, but the little trappings that you buy, the things you take from the bathrooms, the Sunway body lotion and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, we all have those little things, the shampoos, and I'm missing not getting the pens and the notepads and all those sorts of things. So that's on the suspension bridge. I think it's one of the biggest suspension bridges in the world. Really? Tom, do you want to Google that very quickly? Oh, okay.
Right.
All right. So I do believe it's one of the longest suspension bridges in the world.
Wow. In Sunway.
Yeah, and I thought I'd just take a picture of it with my head in the way.
All right. So this is also...
Yeah, I think what we most enjoyed about Sunway is that the experiences aren't just ride-based, you know, hopping on some sort of roller coaster or something, but the ability to do stuff yourself and have fun. So to drive a racing car and to have your child alongside you made me feel more like a man. To be able to show my son how to drive a racing car. Yeah. So lots of fun like that where you've got the independence of the adventure rather than just being strapped in and hoping everything goes okay.
Interesting. So this is like you're driving down a hill, or is it like a track here?
Yeah, track.
Yeah, it's a track. Yep. Interesting. All right. Now back to Australia.
There we go.
Yes.
That's a bit different to the racetrack at Sunway.
Yes.
So this is I will confess with all the bias in the world that this photo is taken in my hometown where I grew up.
Okay.
2 hours south of here. One of the most beautiful little towns in the wheat belt called Narrogin. So once our border restrictions came off, I think about 3 weeks ago now, there was the opportunity for me to take my son Tom and daughter Matilda on a road trip back to Narrogin and to show them some of the things that I did growing up, walking through sheep sheds and things like that. Excuse me. This is actually a really interesting photo because the guy who took us through the shed, Ashley Lock in Narrogin, all of those sheep, I think most of them are actually rams, they're all being held in those pens. He doesn't own any of them. His job is to look after them for other farmers who can't get to the regional shows around Australia and the sales because of coronavirus.
Because coronavirus, okay.
So these, particularly the rams, some of them are worth more than $10,000 each, up to $40,000 each.
Rams, right. Oh, wow.
They are in peak condition. They're the top sheep in the region, and they're all being held in absolute luxury for a sheep. And
That's interesting.
and his job is just to keep them well in this shed, but they're not going anywhere because of the restrictions. They can't be sold for breeding stock and things like that. So and they're not camera shy. They were quite happy. I said, "Look this way."
Yep.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
So one of the things about travelling through the wheat belt is because you can follow the railway line, and back in the olden days when we used to have steam trains, particularly to get from Perth down to Albany, and Albany was settled before Perth, but a steam train needs wood and water to keep it going. So it can only go so far before it needs to restock up on the wood and the water. So along the way, these little towns built up where the supplies of the wood and the water would be. So these beautiful little towns that have just got a couple of people, would have a general store, sometimes a pub, sometimes a little post office. So this is a little place called Popanining, which is north of Narrogin, so still south of Perth, sort of southeast of Perth. And it's a general store that's just been there for a long time and looks after the few locals that still live there. But as far as the origins of the town go, it's based on that history of the railways. And the railways aren't really there anymore. There are might be some trains that take the wheat and those sorts of things, but they don't require, because they're diesel and everything else, they don't require the water and the wood to keep them going. So everything seems to bypass these little towns. But as we keep saying with coronavirus, let's slow down and let's just enjoy looking at things and quieter things. Let's take the opportunity to stop and have a look and take a photo, chat with someone inside, meet someone new. Just take new opportunities, wherever you find them.
Yep,
that's Popanining.
Next one, yeah. Beverly Town Hall.
Beverly is a beautiful little town and very close to Perth. A lot of people like going to York and 2J in the Avon Valley. Excuse me. And Beverly is sort of on that same it's the northern part of the wheat belt and sort of just edging into the Avon Valley as well. And quite a lot of old historic buildings. And what I found extraordinary was when we drove through there, I was pretty keen I knew what was there. I love my history and I love aeroplanes. They've got a beautiful old Royal Australian Air Force jet called a Vampire, which flew in the 1950s, got a twin tail and looks really cool, very retro looking. So I knew that was there, but I didn't know that on a Sunday morning in a country town in Narrogin, you would find art galleries that were open and cafes, and they've got murals on the walls of the buildings, and there was life in a small country town on a Sunday morning. Which was a discovery, which puts a smile on my face, gave us something to do rather than just drive through and go, gee, this is a cute little town, this is quaint and all the rest of it. But there were people there to welcome us and say, g'day, come in and have a coffee and check out what we've got to sell. So, and that's what making these smaller discoveries has to be about in a world where you can't hop on a plane and necessarily head off to the US or to England or somewhere else. Discover something close to home.
Okay, Beverly is, how far is it from Perth?
It'd take you about an hour and a half, probably even less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
South.
It's
southeast,
sort of more east.
East, yeah, towards York there, yeah, all right.
100 or so Ks, under 150.
Right, let's go.
Yeah, so that's in Beverly as well. So they employed a local artist, and you might notice as well if you drive around Vic Park that his name's down there in the corner.
Oh, the same guy.
Yeah, you've noticed his murals. Yeah,
I noticed him. That's one next to Sarapan.
Next to Sarapan.
Yes, the elephant.
Yeah.
The elephant,
So they had him out to Beverly, and there's echidnas and sheep and other animals as well. So just sort of adds life to a small community. Yes. And again, it's that Instagrammable sort of stuff as well, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
So sort of it broadens awareness of a community. Yeah.
It's pretty good. Like Australia's very own Banksy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Quite a well-known one.
Yeah. Yep. So this is one of the reasons we went back to Narrogin. My kids have heard me talking about catching kunaks for many years.
What is that?
Well, a kunak is like a jilgi, it's like a marin, it's like a yabby. It has many names, and I think there might be a couple of different species. There we go.
Yeah.
How do you spell that? Cool neck?
Yeah, Coonac.
Coonac. Kunak.
Yep.
Okay.
Am I lying?
Okay.
I'm not lying. Is something come up?
I'm just googling it now.
There you go.
Coonac. Coonac.
So it's a freshwater crayfish, typically found in dams and in creeks.
It's a type of crayfish. Yeah, it looks like a bit like a lobster, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's that one. That one's quite small.
Yeah.
That one would fit on my hand, but they do get as big as lobsters, as big as crayfish.
With a K actually. Coonac.
Oh, you got it with a K?
Koonac. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is at the fish.wa.gov.au website. So Gilgi and Yabby, as you said.
Yep, jilgies, yep. And yeah, there we go. So we'd arranged to go on to a farm.
Yep.
And have the farmer put some traps in and learn how to catch them.
Freshwater, eh?
So this the green thing.
That's a net.
That's a net.
So
Yeah.
put some meat or some pellets and throws it in. And he actually had put it in the night before, so they were full of them as well. So that was just great for the kids to experience, and an easy thing to arrange if you wanted to travel to a wheatbelt community, contacting the local council or the local visitor centre, and try and arrange a similar experience. This is probably less than 5 minutes drive from the town itself. So it's a farm just sort of on the edge of town. The interesting thing with the Koonacs is that if that dam, you can see the water level is quite low there.
Yeah.
So the sheep come down and drink. But if that dam gets full up around where the dirt mark is, and so where the vehicle is,
Yep.
they will leave that dam and they will just sort of walk across the paddocks
Okay.
and
right.
find a new dam, find a new
dam.
creek. Or if there are too many in there as well, they might think this is getting a bit crowded. They just get out and walk.
Right.
So,
Will this ever get dry during summer?
yeah,
Yeah.
they can do. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So
that's
it's not-
quite low.
Yeah. Yeah. It is
So,
actually quite low.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was about in the middle was maybe about a metre there. But yeah,
not that deep.
the Koonacs will get out and find another home. Find them walking across the paddocks.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, so fresh water.
Yep.
Yes. And then they can actually walk.
And they are beautiful eating. There's I grew up with a mate of mine who went and lived on a farm, and there were a few dams, and he experimented with flavouring them by putting different things into the dam, like wheat or barley or lupin.
Oh, okay.
And because it's a filtration,
Yeah.
whatever's in the water, they take on that flavour.
That flavour
So
is
quite often it can be quite muddy. You know, you boil them up and you get a bit of a sort of a muddy taste.
muddy
to them.
taste. Yeah.
But yeah, there are ways of influencing that flavour.
Influencing that flavour.
So they are beautiful. I think they're better than crayfish.
Really? Okay.
So ya kepada para penonton semua ya, dia Koonac ya, Koonac ya, atau dia sejenis crayfish. So crayfish ni bahasa Melayunya
Apa udang? Udang galah.
macam udang galah lah.
Udang galah, lebih kurang.
Anything similar in Malaysia?
Similar in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Freshwater crayfish?
We need to find an equivalent or
Freshwater,
the
yeah.
name.
Ya, so freshwater ni ini binatang yang hidup dalam sungai biasa lah, bukan laut masin ya ni.
Ikan masin.
Bukan masin macam lobster ya. Lobster which is tinggal di laut. Tapi yang ini memang tinggal di
So you
So
can't...
it's a river. I mean, no, it's a dam.
No, it's a
sorry.
dam.
I'm sorry,
So
it's a dam.
You can't get
So,
a
Ampangan,
more
yeah.
genuine, authentic agricultural experience in Western Australia or Australia than
Only
to find
available
yourself...
in this particular area?
No, all through the wheat belt, and even if you head up north, up through either the Avon Valley or up to Geraldton,
Avon Valley,
wherever there are farms, there are dams, and you're going to find more dams where a farm is for sheep, Obviously, they need to drink from it, that sort of thing. But just really cool to be able to give your kids that experience. But I think as well, it just goes back to the heart of what we're trying to encourage people to do is seek out experiences that are quieter, to seek out experiences that are less congested parts of the world, and get to where you can get to. So we did this trip because we could.
Yeah.
Border restrictions are off, so we went.
Yep.
So go where you can go, do what you can do. And it isn't just about your own well-being because you just want to travel. It's also about trying to support communities.
Yeah.
So I know that in Malaysia the borders are coming down across the states there as well.
Yeah.
And, trying to encourage people to get out and do things. Either eat out and have a meal or explore a new area that you haven't been to. It's all about trying to get normalisation back into our life, and part of having a normal life, we love travelling. And where you can do it safely and legally and not break the rules, that's what we need to do. And it supports all of our communities.
Indeed, yes. It's an effort that to support the local businesses, small businesses especially, that have been out of action for quite some time now. So dengan adanya sebelumnya ada PKP yang dilonggarkan, even di Perth dah kurang dah sekarang ni. Kita pun dah boleh, before this was 2 and then went to 10, went to 100, sekarang sudah boleh berkumpul lebih daripada 100 orang ya.
Okay.
Di Australia Barat.
Australia
Okey,
seterusnya kita lihat apakah gambar seterusnya. Okay, Chris.
I think one of the things that any traveller to Australia is often surprised about is just the importance of our war history. How we think about and regard young Australian men and women who have fought all on foreign shores, not on Australian soil. We haven't fought a war on Australian soil, but going off to Europe, to France and to Turkey at Gallipoli, and to the Middle East in Africa, and to Southeast Asia, of course. So memorials are very common, and there's a great history to them. The history of this memorial, which is in Narrogin, was that it was a bit of a rush job in the end, because a neighbouring very small town called Kibbaling, very, very small, a little bit like the Popanyinning General Store, they had a memorial up before the town of Narrogin, which upset the community of Narrogin. They said, how can Kibbaling have a war memorial before we can? Okay. This just isn't done. Right. We're the real town. We're the bigger population. Yeah. Kibbaling's tiny. This isn't right. We've got to get our act together.
Okay.
So as you might be able to see on the inside, around the up near the ceiling, there are the names written there of different battlefields. Yeah. So they are the known battlefields where young men in Narrogin fought and died. The area around Narrogin, the wheat belt of Western Australia, has one of the highest, serving soldiers of local men who walked off the land from their farms to go and fight. Mm-hmm. One of the highest proportion of young men who didn't return anywhere in Australia. Right. Wow. There was a lot of young men that were lost. So at some of those battles, Messine, Bullecourt, Pozieres, Gallipoli, of course, Fromelles. So the memorial went up in World War I. So the battles that are up there tend to reflect that, as opposed to World War II. So, but it's a wonderful memorial, and that's where the Anzac services are held every year.
Anzac, yeah. Okay, cool.
That's the town hall, which basically marks the centre of the town. So you get an impression when you think of the war memorial and that building with the architecture. It's all sort of it's classically Australian old, and all been restored to a wonderful standard.
Preserved.
Fresh and there's preserved well, and just sort of demonstrates the pride that these communities have in their history as well. So anything that goes on in Narrogin, if someone puts on a play or a musical, anything like that, that's where you go.
So you go,
Yeah.
You go to Narrogin Town Hall.
All right. So it's like the
colonial
Perth Arena kind of thing.
Exactly,
fine.
yes. And most towns across Western Australia will have what's known as the Town Hall.
The town hall. Yes.
All right. Okay. Next.
Oh, there we go.
experience.
That's in a bit of bush, just out of town, called Fox's Lair. Lots of granite boulders and lots of she oak trees and things like that. There's lots of trails to go for a walk as well. Really good sort of bushwalking. It's safe. There are really good maps that guide you around the place as well.
Yeah.
You
But
need a
it
tour guide kind of thing? Or
No,
it's
you
just,
don't need a
just-
tour
you don't
guide.
need a tour guide, yeah?
You will have yourself a genuine, authentic bushwalk, knowing that you're going to be safe. It's on a loop, so you don't need to worry about when do I turn back, how far it is, whatever it is. You know that when you leave your car, you'll come back to your car.
Come with your car.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we had a really good experience here, because a little bit further on there's an old rifle range that had been set up during World War One for the soldiers to train.
Yep.
So they would shoot at targets, but behind the targets was a big mud wall to stop all the bullets.
Sort of bullets, yeah.
So we went through the fossicking, real archaeology, and dug around
right.
and found old bullets.
Oh, bullets.
It was great. So
That's interesting. I mean, archaeologist kind of thing.
just good fun to do something different like that.
Yeah. When was this? This is only looks like recently, because you're wearing all this.
That's right. It's
very good.
that's 3 weeks ago.
It was
So that's
yeah.
that's
Okay,
border
yeah.
restrictions are off.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. We did it 2
So
weeks.
we get the raincoats and we get the beanies out. It's pretty cold in Narrogin.
Cool, yeah. Oh,
Narrogin is very cold.
Right.
So
yeah.
very cold.
Right.
And it's going to get colder over winter. But
All right. Now, okay, we fly back to.
that's
Malaysia,
not cold, is it?
No.
That's not a
But
cold
look
place
at
in the
it.
world. Have either of you guys been there?
Never been where is this?
I mean,
No idea where is
Okay,
that.
so
Yeah.
that is so you know where Jalana Law is, where
Jalan
where-
Alo?
Yep,
Yeah.
Jalan
where
Alor.
Bukit Bintang is, and everybody
Bintang.
goes to Jalana Law
Yeah.
and goes for a walk and buys some fresh food or sits and has a tiger beer while you watch everyone else walk up and down.
Okay.
This is about a minute's walk from there.
Wow.
So just the other side of the road, the government has sponsored the development of murals in several of the streets, just to liven it up and again provide something a bit different. And again, this is all coming back to this theme of just finding things that are a little bit different, a little bit out of the way. So when you're allowed to travel again, if you're in Western Australia and you want to travel up to KL, discover these sort of areas. But if you're in KL right now and you're just looking for something a little bit quieter, a little bit quirky again, find these places that are out there. It's one of the coolest things that's happening all around the world at the moment is this growth of street art and murals. They're really cool. And you can do different sort of positions. They have different dimensional representations to them as well. And you've also got, I notice a lot online of these streets where people have waited until there's no one around. And that works for them. You know, you can do your different poses and stuff as well.
Okay, right.
But for me, I like capturing the people.
The people,
People,
yeah.
yeah.
And you notice it's not my boy in it or anyone. It's just people walking home at the end of the night or going to do their shopping, that sort of thing. In a really cool environment that was just sort of dark and bare before. So.
Yeah. It looks very, look quite busy with all the people. So, I mean, that means it's like people are walking
Yep.
to go somewhere. It's the main pathway.
A friend of mine who is a very popular travel blogger, if you look on Instagram for Annie's Bucket List, she's got photos on these streets that she took early in the morning. So, and early in the morning, it's all sort of been cleaned. There aren't the marks of people's shoes and all the rest of it, and it sort of gleams a little bit.
Okay.
So my timing sort of required that I was there at night, so I get a sort of a different look.
Yeah.
But if the look you're after is something that's a little bit quieter, a little bit shinier, maybe first thing in the morning.
Probably like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So I just waited till there wasn't anyone there just to get a shot with no people. But I still prefer the one with people walking up and down.
Yeah, this is the same. Is it the same alley? Or
Yeah, it's just
the
looking
same
back
alley?
the other way.
other way,
No, this is actually so that previous shot with the people.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
go
sure.
around the corner. So it's just like a dog leg. Turn off to the right.
Right.
Okay, just Googled it. It is Jalan Alor KL Street Art 1 Lane.
Okay.
So alamatnya di alamat 64 Cangkat Bukit Bintang di Kuala Lumpur. So that's the location. Kalau nak Google on Google Maps, it will be Jalan Alor KL Street Art 1 Lane. That's why it's called. Yeah, interesting.
Okay, it's become a tourist attraction.
Oh, yeah, tourist attraction ni boleh jadi tourist attraction. Jadi Instagram worthy lah orang putih kata ya.
Okay. Now we got some error in the photo. Let's try to see if we can sort this. Oh, okay. It's crash. Okay.
I think where we were probably sort of looking at there was the E&O residences.
All right. Okay.
Which I'd wanted to talk about, not just because it's a great place to stay.
Yeah.
It's close to Bukit Bintang. So if you're staying there, there's a lot of it's all about self-contained accommodation at E&O. So if you're there with a family, and let's say you need to do a bit of work, your room has a study. Your apartment has a study, so you can go and do the work while the kids are doing other stuff. Okay. You're close to the high-end shopping, all those malls in Bukit Bintang.
Yeah, Bukit Bintang malls, yes.
You're close to the monorail, so you can go up and down that monorail and everything else that is along the way. You've got Jalan Alor, you've got all the street art and everything. Yeah. But I think as well, as before COVID-19, I would have said E&O Residences is a great place to stay because it's close to all these places. Okay, it's luxurious and it's big apartments. But there's something different now in a post-coronavirus world as we start coming through and what people are looking for in terms of accommodation. It's hard to talk about emerging trends when there isn't travel, but thinking about the way I travel and thinking about the way I hear other people talking about what travel means to them in the future is about peace of mind. And I think something like E&O is a great example where you have self-contained accommodation. So where you've got the ability to take care of yourself. Yeah. So rather than spending or the requirement of going out for every meal, you will have the ability in self-contained accommodation, obviously with a kitchen, to look after the group you're travelling with, whether it's other friends or your family or colleagues. You can do that in the kitchen, cook up. You got your lounge room, television, all the rest of it. As opposed
like a normal household.
Yeah, and it can be a little bit tricky sometimes having that sort of lifestyle in a hotel room. Yeah. But with a self-contained apartment, you've got the freedom to just do things a bit more normally and get out when you can, but have that peace of mind of not having to eat out all the time. Everything. So I think there's a reason there why I think self-contained accommodation options may just become a little bit more popular as well.
Yeah. I mean, here in Australia, self-contained accommodation is pretty much common. I mean, all the major brands they tend to focus on having that kind of facilities, the washing machine or the kitchen stove and so on.
Exactly. Yeah. Gee, I didn't even think of that. The washing machine must be because I never use one. But the washing machine, all of those things. Yeah. If you're spending a bit of time somewhere, the ability you're going to be doing that in the apartment that you're staying at. So it is that peace of mind argument where if I travel, will I be able to do things that keep me as safe as possible? Yep.
So, right. We touched this a bit earlier before our show about post-COVID travel. What do you think is going to happen once this all over and travel restrictions starts to ease out and what do you think?
Well, we will get to a point in time and in our lives where it's in the past. I think the issue we face as a travel industry is that peace of mind argument. I think it's going to be interesting to see how quickly a vaccine's developed. If there is a vaccine, then probably that normalisation, a return to normal travel, will happen quicker than expected. But I think the peace of mind around personal hygiene and safety, we're having a chat around at the moment. What are the rules around how much liquid you can take on a plane? 50 mils or something like that, the little bottle.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to want to travel with a litre of hand sanitizer and not rely on getting to the destination and there's going to be a chemist that sells it. So do we allow every passenger to have a litre or 2 litres of 70% alcohol, highly flammable sort of sanitizer? There are going to be things we need to look at. I think there's great opportunities for technology for reducing contact surfaces. And some of that just seems, it's a little bit bizarre in some ways. It's sort of like, why haven't we done this before? Because at this time of year, we normally go through a flu season and you get people getting all sorts of ailments and all of a sudden those rates are really low because people are sanitising and watching their hygiene. And, you know, you stand at the crosswalk with the lights and people press the button with their elbow and things rather than the fingers and avoiding those sort of contact points. So I think we need, you know, as a travel industry, need to sort of work with engineers. You know, you think of, say in Perth, in Western Australia, we have Main Roads WA, whose job it is to provide traffic lights and pedestrian buttons and things like that. Their role going forward in utilising technology to change that becomes important to the travel industry. So if all of a sudden there was funding to take away all those buttons that need to be pressed and it's all motion sensor, I wave my hand and it activates the waiting time, then you can start promoting that as a travel industry. The government can say, come to Perth, you don't need to touch anything here. We've got no coronavirus, but you also don't need to touch anything. It's all motion sensor. So there are opportunities for governments and countries to look at how we come out of this and be healthier at the same time. So I think I'm fairly confident that, you know, at some stage things are going to be normal again, but hopefully
a better normal.
A better normal. You put that beautifully. A cleaner, better normal. So we have to, if anything comes out of this, we have to learn as well, don't we? What worked and what do we want to continue? We don't just want to go back to some of the stuff that we did before. More people working from home.
Less toilet paper that's going to be used.
That's right.
More bidets being sold.
More bidets, You know, how do we avoid that sort of stuff in the future as well?
People are waking up to the fact that, yes, actually there are better ways to do the same thing that we've been doing all these years. That's the main thing.
But I think from a travel perspective, I think what we'll see, I remember when I was in India a couple of years ago and I was surprised at Kochi airport at this huge crowd that was outside. I know something's happened. There's going to be a big delay. But it was simply because they didn't let anyone into the airport who wasn't travelling. So whereas you think of most other airports, everybody can go in, there's some shops and everything, and then you go through the gates if you're actually travelling. But at Kochi, they didn't have that. The airport was just for the travellers. Maybe we'll go down that same route as well, where you just don't have people, a whole family following you in to give you the hug at the gates and things like that. It's just drop you off and go. The kiss and go sort of thing. So I think we'll see changes like that, and it's you know, it's not for the worse. But I think we'll be okay.
But another issue that probably I read an article like 2 hours ago about travel. I mean, affordability. I mean, it will get more expensive because the articles I've read is like Thailand, right? A country like Thailand. They are focusing on high net worth travel rather than all the backpackers. So their marketing efforts will be channeled towards that. And that like kind of sign because they want less people, but these people that actually travel spends more money than those backpackers, right? What do you think of that? I mean,
well, it's interesting because I also see the other end that might suffer. So you're talking about sort of that low end accommodation, but what about, and particularly in Southeast Asia, that acronym of MICE for meetings and conferences and exhibitions, that's going to be a really hard sell for any major hotel chain or resort to say, we've got this huge conference room, how would you like to have 500 or 1,000 people come and sit and watch these PowerPoint presentations? Also, that's going to be a really difficult one over the next couple of years. So what do you do with those facilities? What sort of, you're right, there's going to be serious questions asked around the sort of people that you invite, that you need to market, who are going to travel. And there are going to be, you know, I think it's going to be difficult for families who are going to be concerned about children.
Yeah.
And the concern there, I think, also lies in that fear factor of if something happens when we're away and then we can't fly back. So you might find backpackers are more prepared to take that risk, and young people who don't have the attachments that an old bloke like myself does with some kids, that doesn't want to be stuck trying to get people back on flights and all the rest of it, finding yourself in an airport for 2 weeks, that sort of thing. I think it'll be different from country to country, and the way different cultures play with that. But I can see markets that will struggle with the backpacker, but also at that high end, the conferencing and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a lot of people to think up lots of new smart ideas for how we get us out there and how we sit on planes and how we get meals, all those sorts of things. So
All the changes.
where we stay, are we still going to have a buffet
Yeah.
at our favourite resort? Do we rush down in the morning to get to the buffet?
Yeah.
Don't get between my wife and an egg station. Unbelievable.
Okay.
But it's those sort of things which seem really, 3 or 4 months ago,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have been built. But
Yeah.
all of a sudden, seriously, does a buffet need a person at each station
Yeah.
who hand you your 6 Saturday sticks if you want
all
6
this-
Saturday sticks or whatever it is, rather than you help yourself? Picking up it seems crazy now. I'll pick up that spoon and serve myself the salad and put the spoon back, and the next 100 people do the same thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, come to think about it, it's really,
Yeah.
all this. If there's some one of them got the virus somehow, then it just easily spread,
Yeah.
like what happening in the cruise liners and
Yep.
so on.
it's on our minds, isn't it? We come back to the peace of mind argument.
That's right. That's right.
But as we go forward, as things ease off, let's just do what we can when we can. Get out there. It's good for our well-being and it's good for the economy of our local communities as well.
So that's good because less travel overseas means the money is in that particular country, and then it helps the local economy, because we need to look at local economy, look at the employment, keeping jobs here for the people here for now.
But it's redefining tourism as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
at the same time,
we've always talked about, tourism as being going somewhere big and flash. So if you're holidaying in your country, it's going to those top-end places. That's bucket list sort of places. Or if you're going overseas, it's doing that as well. But just think a bit differently now. Think about something that's off the beaten track, something that's quieter, something that's slower, something that involves less people, and give yourself time to have a genuine, authentic experience wherever you are in the world.
Yep. Not just Instagrammable locations, something like that. Extra-worthy locations, not just that. I mean, there are actually more than that.
Find the hidden gems.
The hidden gems.
Hidden gems, yes.
All right.
It's important.
Cool. We got one comment. Muhammad Hafiz Man M. Dawood. He's saying that 2D Bubble Tea Cafe in Sunway Geo Avenue. Is it 2D, right?
Yes.
Is it 2D?
Yeah.
It's a 2D cafe there. Yeah, okay. Terima kasih Tuan Mar Hafiz Man, ya.
Mar Hafiz Man,
telah
Daud, ya.
memberi sedikit keterangan lah mengenai tempat yang kita telah berbincang tempat tadi, ya, di 2D Cafe tadi. Baik, nampaknya kita sudah sampai ke penghujung. We are already almost an hour chatting about travel and your experience.
We could go for another hour easy, couldn't we? It's so easy.
Of course.
I'm sure if you,
And
it's easy.
but
yeah.
everybody's an expert. Everybody does it. Everybody's a traveller.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just need to remember what experience that they've gone through, all these unique experiences, and then try to explain it again.
Yep.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
But personally, how does COVID-19 have been affecting you as a travel writer?
Oh, hugely.
Yeah.
You can't travel. You can't describe new experiences. So a lot of it has been like, we've just spent probably the last just 5-10 minutes more issue-based rather than describing based on the photos of recent experiences before COVID-19. So my work, I've always been best at describing the experiences rather than focusing on the issues.
Yeah.
So if you can't travel, you can't describe the experiences.
Yes.
So it does get very difficult. So you've got a lot of people within the industry that can't do it, particularly if your work is away from mainstream media. If it's not radio or print, if you're, say, an influencer on Instagram or something, if you're not able to get to those places, it makes it very difficult. So you have to get smart. You have to get a little bit retrospective. Do some of those things like Facebook Memories gives you. So, do some posts that say, this time last year, I was doing this. Mm-hmm. So maybe this time next year, you'll be able to do it. So you've got to be optimistic that things will get better.
Get better, yeah.
And there's no problem with talking about something you have done. It doesn't have to be immediate. You just got to get clever and
got to refresh all the nice memories that have been done before. That's the only thing. Yeah,
keep smiling and keep travelling.
Yes.
Keep your heads up.
Wherever you can. It might just be as far as Ritz-Carlton and Elizabeth Quay.
Yes, correct.
Or it might be the Wheatbell.
Yeah, Wheatbell 1.5 hours drive. There's 2J, there's Beverly, there's Narrogin.
There's York.
York. Ulu-ulu jam sikit lah. Tapi tak apa, boleh.
You've done a bit of research, haven't you?
No. Yes, of course, yeah.
There are good places out there that you're allowed to get to now.
Yeah, tapi sekarang sejuk because of the weather now a bit colder, but
it's okay. It's a different experience. It's like if you go to Albany.
Yeah, correct.
You go to Albany, you expect 9 times out of 10 it's going to be windy and cold.
Windy and cold, yeah.
Take a beanie and a coat and you'll love it.
Yeah. Pakai tebal-tebal ya bila kita berjalan-jalan ya, travelling around Western Australia.
Cuti-cuti Australia Barat.
Cuti-cuti Australia Barat. Yes.
Itulah kepada penonton pendengar yang di Malaysia, anda juga boleh cuti-cuti Malaysia lah kan. Di mana anda berada cuti-cuti dalam negara, kerana industri pelancongan perlukan sokongan anda, perlukan sokongan ialah penduduk-penduduk untuk teruskan industri, dan kalau ada duit, pesalannya bawa keluarga. Kalau selamat, pastikan ambil tindakan precautionary measures. Jangan dekat sangat dengan orang. Kalau boleh, jangan pergi tempat crowded lah. Itulah yang kita boleh lakukan buat setakat ni. Alright, Chris, thank you so much for your time and your great experience, sharing of your great experience.
Yep.
Terima kasih.
Yes.
Your next plan is definitely just still local travel.
Oh yeah, they've got a beautiful trip coming up to a place called the Dell, which is down near Dardanup, just near Bunbury. It's a big old farming homestead.
Yep.
Going there with another family as well. Lots of walks through the farm and through
the Dell.
creek. Yep. D-E-double-L. So again, opportunities that you don't have to go that far to find those wonderful places. So it's a big old country homestead. Been in the same family for over 100 years. Old furniture.
Yeah.
Can sit around a fire at night, roast some marshmallows. And
what an experience.
That's cozy.
Yeah. School holiday is coming up.
Yep.
So that's probably your next your next plan.
Ada 2 weeks Ada 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So, lagi 2 minggu
weeks.
Ada
2
percutian
weeks
sekolah. 2 weeks time. 3 weeks. Oh, okay. 3 weeks time.
all right.
Okay. So you're not counting the days, aren't you?
We'll just keep you at school.
Just go to school every week. That's good.
Okay, itu saja daripada kami, tim Radio Melayu Perth dan Chris Parry, tetamu undangan kita pada malam ini.
Thank you again, Chris.
Thanks again, Chris. Hopefully we able to invite you again on your next travel voyage. Dan kepada para pendengar, insyaAllah kita akan terus bersiaran sebegini. Menerusi YouTube live. Kita akan cuba cari jalan kalau kita dapat juga bersiaran secara langsung di Facebook dan juga YouTube, supaya pendengar atau penonton yang ada di Facebook boleh juga melihat siaran kami di sana. Dan semoga bermanfaat perkongsian pada malam ini. Jika ada sebarang komen yang tak diberikan, anda bolehlah tulis di ruang komen di YouTube ni ataupun menghantar email kepada kami radiomelayuperth@gmail.com.
Boleh juga komen di Facebook Facebook Radio Melayu Perth. Komen, kita akan letakkan link pautan bagi YouTube Live pada malam ini di Facebook Radio Melayu Perth. Boleh ikuti secara penuh siaran langsung ini.
Okey, dengan ini kami akan mengundur diri. Terima kasih kepada semua yang terlibat dan kita jumpa lagi pada siaran live yang akan datang. Saya DJ Wan.
Saya DJ Foss. And terima kasih kepada Chris Parry. Itu saja. Bye.
Assalamualaikum.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.